Listen to confirm content. Write a check mark next to the topics that were discussed. Write an X next to the topics that weren't. Listen again to check your answers.
Hello, and welcome to Lifestyles, the program that examines hot trends and other issues of interest to today's families. Today, we'll be talking about a growing trend, the stay-at-home dad. And to make this topic come alive, we've invited Dan, a real live stay-at-home dad who will share his experiences with us. People here in the studio audience will have a chance to ask questions, and those of you watching at home can submit questions or comments online at #LifestyleTalks. Please join me in welcoming Dan Barton to today's show. Welcome, Dan. Please make yourself comfortable.
Thank you, Diana. I'm pleased to be here.
Dan, let's start with some definitions. The most general definition of a stay-at-home dad is a father who's the daily primary caregiver of his children under the age of 18. Now, in some cases, a stay-at-home dad's a father who's at home out of necessity. In this case, a father loses his job and stays home to take care of the kids, while his wife takes a job to support the family. Or, if she already works, she becomes the sole support of the family. This dad might continue to look for a job during the time he's out of work and at home. Another category of stay-at-home dad, which is growing exponentially, is the dad who chooses to be a stay-at-home parent, rather than one who has no other alternative. According to statistics, there's been a significant rise in men who fit this definition. In fact, in the U.S. in recent years, the number of fathers living with children younger than 18 and who do not work outside the home has more than doubled, from 1.1 million to more than 2 million. I understand, Dan, that you fall into this last category. You've chosen to be the primary caregiver of your 3 children, and your wife is the primary breadwinner.
Yes, that's right. It may seem odd, but before my wife and I got married, long before we had children, of course, we had a heart-to-heart talk, and we decided that she would pursue her lifelong dream to be a surgeon, and I would eventually stay at home, taking care of the household responsibilities. And if we had children, I would be the primary caregiver.
Dan, can you take a question from the gentleman there in the first row?
Sure.
Dan, what did your friends and family think of your plan? I mean, didn't they think it was a little strange?
Well, we did get some negative feedback. Some people thought it was completely unrealistic. Some just couldn't accept it. I was amazed that so many people had feelings about this, that it was so controversial.
Well, it is a role reversal, isn't it? Traditionally, the husband's the breadwinner, and the wife, even if she has a career, usually takes on the larger share of responsibilities of the household and the kids.
Right. People even asked whether there was something wrong with me. They said it was weird for a man not to have any career ambitions. All in all, it was just a lot of run-of-the-mill sexism. I mean, why automatically would a man not want to raise children and make a beautiful home for his family? What's so strange about that? And why would anyone think there was something wrong with a woman who had ambitious career goals? In any case, we gave ourselves plenty of time. We decided to put off being parents for a few years, and I worked to support the 2 of us while Sarah completed her training. We were able to save up a nest egg, and during that time, we shared all the household responsibilities. Well, maybe not exactly 50-50, but close.
So when did that all change?
Well, our first daughter was born the year after Sarah began working at the hospital. As a surgeon, she was earning enough that I could afford to stay home, and we just started off our life in the way many couples do, with one parent at home and the other out in the workforce.
You worked from home?
No, actually, I just stopped working altogether. I suppose we could have had a higher income if I had been working too, but our goal was for our kids to have one full-time parent at home if financially possible. We realize that not every couple is able to afford that, but in our case, we've been lucky and we can. We're not rich, but we have enough and we try to live within our means.
Tell us about your typical day.
Well, now that we have 3 girls at home...
3 girls? Wow. You must feel like an alien in your own family.
Well, what can I tell you? I don't think my day is much different from any mother who's a homemaker. I shop and I cook family meals, I help the girls with their homework, I take them to their music lessons, the whole kit and caboodle.
Dan, here's something that's just come in. I'm more traditional. I would be upset if my son decided to stay home and expect his wife to be the breadwinner.
Well, many people hold on to traditions, and there's nothing wrong with that. But to Sarah and me, we don't like the idea of a double standard for men and women. We want to raise our children so they can pursue their individual dreams and not have those dreams limited based on what sex they are.
Yes. I see we have a question from the audience. Yes, ma'am, in the 3rd row.
Dan, I can understand how you do this since your wife's a surgeon. She probably earns a lot of money. But what about the fact that most women earn so much less money than men for the same job? Isn't it unrealistic for most couples to depend on a wife's income, since for sure it's less than what her husband could earn?
What you're saying is true. You've put your finger on a large societal problem that we're all aware of and should try to change. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying our arrangement's realistic for all families, just that we feel that people should have the right to set their own goals. And we hope that, in the future, the next generation won't think it's weird to do what we're doing, if that's what they choose.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Please stay tuned for this important message coming up.